You can't fire me. I quit. Think you can replace me with some other guy? Go ahead. It won't be the same. You may think I'm losing, but I'm not.
Charlie Harper didn't leave 2.5 Men once. He left twice. The first time, the show said he had been hit by a train in Paris. 4 years later, it revealed that he had survived, only to drop a piano on him before we even saw his face. But Charlie's ending was really the final stage of a fight between the show's biggest star and the people who had to keep writing without him. And when you look at it from the writer's side, the whole thing gets a lot more complicated.
CBS has finally said enough is enough, pulling the plug on Sheen's hit program after he let loose with a scathing and some would say anti-Semitic rant against the show's creator.
For 8 seasons, Charlie Sheen wasn't only the lead actor, he was the center of the entire setup. Alan needed Charlie's house. Jake needed the strange family around that house. Most episodes worked because Charlie could cause a problem, make fun of Alan for having a problem, or somehow do both at the same time. The writers also built Charlie Harper around parts of Sheen's public image. It was never meant to be a full copy of the actor, but the line between the two was thin. That helped the show become a hit. It also made Sheen almost impossible to replace.
First question America wants to know, are you clean right now?
Look at me, duh.
When was the last time you did drugs?
Don't remember, don't care. Drug tests don't lie. The scoreboard doesn't lie.
By early 2011, the problem was no longer happening only in the scripts. Production stopped in January when Sheen entered rehab. It was the second shutdown in a year. Then, in February, he began attacking co-creator Chuck Lorre in public interviews. CBS and Warner Brothers canceled the rest of Season 8, and on March 7th, Warner Brothers fired Sheen. That meant his final episode, That Darn Priest, wasn't written as a farewell. It was just the last completed episode before the production fell apart.
What happened?
I think I just started partying too hard. I started having way too much fun.
So the show was kind of getting in the way of
Getting in the way of my social life, yes indeed, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, yeah. They treated me poorly, but the show's great, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got that going for you.
For the audience, the show simply stopped. For the writers, there was no ending and no final scene they could build around Charlie. Lorre later said the situation had broken his heart. He talked about Sheen as someone he had considered a friend and said the decision to remove him was a moral one instead of a financial one. In his version of events, the people running the show were scared that Sheen's addiction could end in somebody getting seriously hurt. He wasn't describing a normal argument between an actor and a producer. He believed the show had reached a point where continuing in the same way was dangerous. They were trying to rebuild a hit show after a very public breakdown. Their first problem was the beach house. Charlie owned it. Alan lived there because Charlie allowed it. If Charlie disappeared and nothing else changed, the setup stopped making sense. So the writers created Walden Schmidt. Walden didn't replace Charlie as a brother or an uncle. He replaced him as the owner of the house. That was the cleanest way to keep Alan, Jake, Berta, and the main set while bringing in a new lead. Walden could buy the house, Alan could find another reason to stay, and the show could build a different group around them. But before Walden could walk through the door, the writers had to make it clear that Charlie wasn't coming back.
Has got to be on drugs again.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I am on a drug. It's called Charlie Sheen. It's not available because if you try it once, you will die. Your face will melt off and your children will weep over your exploded body. Too much. So it's just, I woke.
Season 9 opens at Charlie Harper's funeral. His old girlfriends line up to talk about how badly he treated them. Rose explains that Charlie died in Paris after falling in front of a train, with a strong hint that she pushed him after catching him with another woman. The coffin stays closed because, according to Rose, there wasn't much left to show. Then Alan takes Charlie's ashes home. A little later, Walden appears at the beach house.
I ain't cleaning him up.
From a writing point of view, The Funeral does two jobs very quickly. It closes the door on Sheen, and it turns Charlie's house into something that can be sold to the new lead. The scene doesn't separate Charlie Harper from Charlie Sheen. The women are speaking about the character, but the audience knows the episode was written after months of headlines and public insults. Charlie becomes a stand-in for the actor who is no longer there. That is why The Funeral can feel less like a farewell and more like the writers taking back control of their show. The writers needed the audience to understand that the old version of 2.5 Men was finished. If Charlie had moved away or disappeared, viewers could keep waiting for Sheen to return. Killing the character removed that question. The problem was how they did it. People had watched Charlie Harper for 8 years. Whatever anyone thought of Sheen, the character had a separate relationship with the audience. By using Charlie as the target of the real-life feud, the show made the viewers part of it too. After that, Walden was written as almost the opposite of Charlie. He was younger, emotionally open, unlucky in love, and uncomfortable with the playboy role. Alan became the link between the old show and the new one. It worked well enough to keep the series running for 4 more seasons. But the writers never fully escaped Charlie. They brought him back as a ghost played by Kathy Bates. Characters kept talking about him and comparing the new life in the house with the old one. Charlie was dead, but he still had a place in the show that nobody else could fill. By the series finale in 2015, the writers finally stopped pretending otherwise. The episode is called Of Course He's Dead, and almost the entire story is built around Charlie. Rose reveals that he never died in Paris. She had kept him trapped in a pit for 4 years, and now he had escaped. Charlie sends money and threats to people from his past. Everyone expects him to arrive, but Sheen never appears. Lorre said the producers did ask him to return. Their idea was for Sheen to look into the camera and deliver a speech about how the dangers of drug use only applied to ordinary people because he was somehow beyond all of it. Sheen didn't want that scene. According to Lorre, he suggested a warmer ending that could lead into a new show with Charlie and Alan called The Harpers. The two sides couldn't agree, so the finale used animation, shots from behind, and a body double. Charlie reaches the front door of the beach house. Before he can go inside, a piano falls on him. Then the camera pulls back and reveals Chuck Lorre sitting in a director's chair. He turns toward the camera, says, "Winning!" and another piano falls on him.
And it was going pretty good for a while. And then,
Till it wasn't.
Then it wasn't, yeah. And I get into that in the book in a way. I think it's really interesting.
That second piano is the part that makes the ending more than a final shot at Sheen. Lorre later said, the joke suggested that maybe nobody won. Charlie is crushed, but so is the writer who arranged it. The show ends by admitting that the fight had swallowed both the character and the person telling the story. Instead of giving Alan, Jake, or even Charlie a normal final moment, it makes the making of 2.5 Men the subject of 2.5 Men. As a piece of television history, that makes sense. As an ending for the characters, it is harder to defend. The show could never give Charlie Harper a clean ending because the people making it did not have a clean ending with Charlie Sheen.
Embarrassing, it was all kinds of stuff, and I couldn't watch 2.5 Men reruns for years because I just couldn't enjoy it. I can now. I love what we did. We made a funny show, and we made a really funny show for 8 years.
There is one final part of the story that changes how all of this looks now. In 2023, Lorre and Sheen worked together again on Lorre's series Bookie. Lorre said he was nervous before they met, but the old friendship returned quickly. He described the reunion as healing, and Sheen was willing to make fun of his own past. So, how did 2.5 Men come to the end of Charlie? The studio ended its relationship with Sheen. The writers killed Charlie Harper so the show could continue. Then, for 4 seasons, they kept bringing his shadow back into the room. When the series finally ended, they turned the entire feud into one last joke and dropped the piano on themselves, too. The show survived without Charlie Sheen, but it never really moved past him.